Hi, welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode where we're going to look forward to all the European Cup action.
Ooh, Eurostat,
Yeah.
la, la, la. And I'll say this.
Got me jersey, mate. Got me jersey.
And very fine you are looking too, John.
Thank you very
I must
much.
say. I must say,
Oh, jersey, it's not me.
maybe it's because Leinster, there's a bit more buzz and positivity around Leinster. But first time in a couple of years, I'm feeling that old
Feeling the
European,
love.
that old Heineken tingle is back in my nether regions.
But it's good to, we got Cast. We've played Cast 6 times and beaten them 5.
Yeah.
So, they're languishing 11th in the top 14. And, they have a pretty weak record. They've they've lost 4 and drawn 1 of their 8 matches so far.
We're beaten by Montpellier at the weekend, our
That's
other
right.
group rivals in a
Dour
game.
Sludge fest.
Yeah, a bit of a sludge
One
fest.
try each.
I'll say this much for whatever about the standard of the rugby. Maybe it's not always the highest. But in terms of entertainment value, the Pro 12 delivers.
Yeah.
In a way that a lot of other leagues don't.
Do you know one thing that is really striking when I was going through the top 14 was the amount of, and it's still going on, the home and aways.
Oh yeah.
And no matter how many foreigners they bring in, and South Africans and Kiwis and Aussies
Still
and whatever,
the same, yeah.
it's still the same mentality. And it's as I was going through all of the fixtures, it's
Home,
pretty much
home.
All the teams win at home, and they pretty much lose away.
Well, I have to say that I never like to tempt the mocker gods in the week of a European game, but I feel there are only 3 reasons we're going to lose this weekend. And one is corrupt officials. 2 is us having an absolute nightmare of a day with terrible luck. And 3 is Cast playing absolutely out of their skins. Because if we play anywhere near 90% of and they don't play 100%, I think we're taking them to the woodshed.
This is not the. I mean, we played Casper. We've come across them quite a few times in the last couple of years. This is not the Casper team from even the last time we came across them.
That's true.
This is a much weaker team.
The Yara, I was looking at their
Yara's
outs.
gone. Lamarat is gone.
That's 2 of their best players.
Richie Gray has moved on. I think isn't he coaching Montpellier now? Isn't he coaching their line out?
Don't know.
I don't
Is
know.
he?
But Richie
I
Gray
thought
is gone.
he was
Is he
gone
retired,
to
is he?
Leon or something.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I just have that idea in my head. But anyway, he's not playing for Castor anyway.
No.
And those are guys, significant players for them. They've lost. Cabana's gone. A lot of players that were.
That fellow Wihungi, who was the big square loose head prop, the Kiwi they had, is gone. He gave us some trouble actually in the RDS the last time they were there.
The only one they really have left of their, if you like, star names is Capo Ortega.
Yeah. And he is, when we talk about Damien Browns of this world, and
Oh yeah, heavy artillery.
he is an absolute definition of the French cart horse. He's 6'5", he's 20 stone, and he's hard to lift in the line out. But by Jesus, does he give you a shunt behind your tight head? That's the kind of players that they love in France. They've always got a cart horse in their team. I mean, you need to have a bit of heavy artillery again. I think much more so when we go to Montpellier the week after. But
I think that'll be a different kettle of fish. All right.
But see, here's the question I have.
you can move a guy like that, or you can move a pack like that around and tire them out.
If Montpellier lose to Northampton in their first match, because it's an away match, and it could happen. I mean, I watched Northampton at the weekend. They weren't any great shakes, but they have enough talent in the squad to play better than they did. If how much interest will Montpellier have the next week? The only, as you said earlier, when I said this to you earlier, John, they might say, oh well, we can't afford to lose the second week in a row at home. But they might have already lost interest. You never know.
There is a bit of disquiet in the camp. Seeing
there is.
Vern Cotter's coming in at the end of the season, and Jake White is leaving. He's already filled the place with South Africans, so
which Vern Cotter will have to empty out the
what's
place
going to
with
happen
Kiwis.
there? He's going to have to bring in a lot of Kiwis, yeah. So they're in a period of transition because of they have a lame duck coach.
He's going to have to sign Butch James from La Rochelle.
So God knows what kind of Montpellier is going to show up. They're probably the best team in the group on paper. They're probably the scariest team in the group on paper. I haven't seen Northampton play this year, but from the little bits I hear, I don't think they're in brilliant form.
Yeah, they haven't been able to stick it all together,
Yeah, so
Saints they've got off to a poor start. I think they're 9th in the
I mean, they have they have a lot of talented players.
They've only won
they
2
haven't
of
been able
their
to glue
6
it all
games.
together. Yeah.
we do have, like, relatively speaking, apart from not having an Italian team in our group, we do have not a bad old group. You have to say, when you look across at Munster's group or even Ulster's group, we're doing pretty okay.
We're not the easy match.
We're not the easy match in our group, yeah, that's for sure.
I mean,
We got two French clubs, and neither of them are,
Toulon and Toulouse
clubs
or
that
Clermont
are going to go for it.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that Montpellier
Racing,
is going to go
Clermont,
and compete on two fronts.
Toulouse and Toulon are the
yeah.
ones who go for it.
Yeah, the rest.
And Racing.
Not
Yeah,
us.
Sorry.
yeah.
So,
The rest,
yeah, I would feel fairly good about her. Now, doesn't mean we're going to go out and top the group or anything, but I think there will be in the mindset of the players as well after last season, going out and losing their first two European games. There's going to be a bit of, and because they're in good form and there's a bit of head of steam building, there's going to be some determination in this, in the players for these two games. So.
But even with the confidence that the match against Munster could only have brought back into the team, there's a lot of kind of chatter in the last couple of days that Sean O'Brien is going to be
Almost
up
ready
and
to
at
go.
them and possibly tog out at the weekend.
Well, our man in Inglewood here told me that he was going to be back quick smart, that he was ahead of Henshaw in his. So, I'll believe Sean O'Brien. The other thing is we needed a 12 for Europe, and Ireland needed Robbie Henshaw back, rehabilitated ASAP.
no Super Roshan Sean.
We don't need another back rower in either Leinster or Ireland. Having said that, somebody of the quality of Sean O'Brien, bring it on. Brilliant. What a headache. Like last week.
Yeah, things got worse.
Last week I was suggesting that maybe Jordy Murphy might be the man left out of all the flankers we have if we didn't do a 6-2 split, and the guy started and had a bit of a blinder, so all of our back, like Levy, Van der Fleer, Jordy Murphy, Heaslip, Ruddock, they're all in great form. So throwing O'Brien in there ain't gonna.
Yeah, just goes to show that
Well, we don't need him. It ain't gonna hurt.
having the competition for places
Ulster
is driving each other's performance.
It's a rising tide, as we often say.
Ulster would sell their grannies, their mothers, their fathers, and any female relation.
I wonder if they'll give us any counties back.
Well, they might even give us a few counties.
They'll give us
back.
Fermanagh, definitely.
Definitely.
Fermanagh for Sean O'Brien, I'd say, is a live issue now at the moment in the IRF. So, we could do a bit of a tie up there. You never know. Is Fermanagh worth it? I would have
It's
to
the one with
ask.
the gold reserves.
Okay.
So, Dave, we had a couple of tweets, did we?
We did. Well, we had one. Sam Glanville tweeted us, and he asked, and indeed answered, as far as I can tell, his own question, because I'd agree with what he says. He says, "What's Leinster's main strengths and weaknesses? In his opinion, strength is our defence. It's been tried, tested, and ultimately shown true grit when needed."
Yep.
And he says, "Our weakness has been a lack of 80-minute performances. Although it's improving, it is a concern going into Europe." So I'd actually agree entirely with what he says. I especially about the defence. The last, we say, 5 to 10 minutes against Cardiff over there, were
Just
just
honed in the fire.
yeah. That's the kind of gritty performance that you can take with you when you're going into a European match. So yeah, I'd agree 100% with what Sam says there.
Yeah, I'm not
say-
sure about the 80-minute performance thing. I think we're kind of getting to that now because
If we
We're
were to
not-
say another weakness, it is, I think, in our back three,
lack
where
of pace and power out wide.
lack of pace
just-
and power and numbers at this stage.
We'll just get a card.
Yeah.
Lack of pace and power in the back three and hold it up about 3 times in each episode. Okay.
And numbers. I mean, you
And
bring.
numbers at
I mean,
this
in
stage,
fairness, you put Dave Kearney back in that, and he's a powerful, quick guy. He does.
He's looking good this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He
is.
was. Dave Kearney gets. I don't know. I think I don't know. He seems to attract an awful lot of unwarranted criticism. I think. Because he was going into that World Cup and he was our best player going into that World Cup in terms of his form, and then obviously the Argentina game happened and he got a bit of an injury as well. And then he came back and he was going well and he got a bit of an injury, and he's very unlucky. If he could get a run of games, I think he can do an awful lot of damage on the wing. He was in a season in which we had a pretty bad season backs wise, particularly outside backs in Europe. He was pretty much the only thing we had.
No, I think I'd love to have him back for the weekend. I don't know what's his injury status. How long?
I
is he
don't
out
know.
for?
I don't know. I think I saw one in the paper said that he might be back. I don't know. But the only thing is I know that Ferg won't be back. So I
And what
presume.
about Zane Kirshner? Was he rested or is he injured? Or
Well,
what's the story?
I don't know, but all 4 provinces had 1 in IQ in their teams, all 4 in their backline.
Interesting, isn't it?
Hmm.
Those kind of things don't happen by fluke.
Yeah, it's orders from Schmidt Fora, is it?
Well, I presume so. I mean, they were. Do you think those things happen by? I mean, do you think Munster left out Klein by free choice?
He's injured. Apparently.
Bet you he'd be playing against.
Well, if he's playing next weekend, then we'll.
And they will need him, but we'll come to the Munster game in due course. I suppose we better start on actually talking about the Castor game, because we talked more about next week more than we have this week. Apart from our delightful European jersey, which will be making its debut, as modelled by people who'd be a lot more attractive than John. It's going to be an interesting game. Saturday afternoon in the RDS for a European game.
It'd be good to be
it
back.
Gets you a tingle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I seem to remember playing Cast on a Sunday.
Oh yeah.
And it's, it's
Right,
just
yeah.
not the same
not
crack.
right. No.
They'll be playing that Jean-Michel Jarre music again. What's it called? Industrial or that music they play every Heineken Cup game since the start of the Heineken Cup. It's by Jean-Michel Jarre.
Is it?
I only found that out last season.
And you never told us.
And I never
Which
told
one
you.
is that now? Is it the kind of the anthem? Is that by Jean-Michel
It
Jarre?
is, yeah.
Jeez.
It's called Industrial something. Anyway, let's not get too bogged down in the anthem.
He kind of lost his way after Revolutions.
We're getting bogged down here.
Calypso's not a good album.
I think he's playing in the 3 Arena soon.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of torn because Miriam hates electronic music.
Is this a
Hates
rugby
it.
podcast all of a sudden?
But I love electronic music, so it's kind of I don't know.
So, any question marks on selection?
Yes. Jean-Michel Jarre. No.
Who selected
his,
that?
His children went to Trinity College. When he was married to Charlotte Rampling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, question marks on selection.
But he left it for the girl who starred in Nikita, Anne Pario. Anyway.
Sorry, Dave. What were you saying?
No, nothing. No. His father's Maurice Jarre, the composer.
You're close. You're close. Question marks in selection. Well, we've got a shitload of back row players, so let's start there. I don't care.
Yeah.
Pick any forward.
Well, second rows, I'm
Okay,
thinking.
Jamie and
any
whoever. The first 2 into the dressing
Don't
room.
even need to pick Jamie.
No, I like to have Jamie there. He's
Well,
a
I
calming
would.
influence.
But if you tell me he wasn't playing, I go,
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
we'll manage.
Okay, second row, I'm more thinking about,
Yeah.
is Nagel worth his place? Or
I'd
would they-
bench Nagel, and if Mick Carney is fit and why he was playing for the A team, I don't know. Was it a get down there in the A team and you have to prove yourself?
I think they just wanted to
or-
give Nagel another run. I mean, apparently he'd been going well in training until he got injured, and maybe they felt he deserved it.
You know what I thought actually was?
I want to
I thought
play-
they was trying to milk out a few, maybe a yellow card or a few penalties.
Oh, with the red mist in front of them,
Yeah.
seeing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they wanted to see what he was like with Toner, because they would be traditionally considered to
Loose headlocks.
to lose headlocks. Maybe you want to see, and it didn't work that badly, actually.
No.
In fairness, but I think as you were saying, with Capo Ortega being the big kind of
Exactly.
we have to fight, to a certain extent. You have to fight fire with fire. Now there is another school of thought that maybe if you pick Nagel, you could totally try and dominate them in the line out by putting up 2 jumpers.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was about to say. Like what you gain in this line out, you're losing the scrum, or whatever
Vice
way
versa,
around
yeah.
you're going to look at it. I just think that someone like Mick Carney, or I think foot injury with McCarthy, so I don't think he's going to be around. And after that, you're running out. Like, I would harsh on Ross Maloney, but I'd like to see maybe Nagel bench, because then you can bring him on
Yeah,
to replace either lock, really, because
Yeah.
he's tall and athletic enough to replace Toner.
He's also bleeding big.
But he's also powerful enough, to stand up to some of those lads. The guy who partners Capo Ortega is fairly young. I was having a look at him last night. He's a very tall guy, but I think he's only like 24 or something. He's quite young. So, maybe you've only one real fire merchant in Capo Ortega, and he's knocking on a little bit now. So I wouldn't be as concerned with the second row as I previously might have done. But Nagel on the bench and your man Carney.
I
Toner
would subscribe to your newsletter
Would be my newsletter.
Any changes in the front row?
again.
I'd shuffle them around again. Throw the 6 darts on the page anywhere and let them fall. Like
If you're gonna come onto a pitch you're going to introduce yourself to a game, do it the James Tracy way.
Yeah, he certainly did,
Huh?
didn't he?
Crook it in. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
yeah. A dodgy throw and then come through the middle of the ruck.
Catch the ball and just off their ball and just mullock your way forward. I thought
Yeah.
he had a very good.
He's a tough guy, like
Yeah,
he really
tough
is
guy.
for a young guy.
Yeah.
He's,
He's a hard carrier.
he is. Yeah, I love to see
He's
him.
wiry, kind of,
do
isn't
that.
he?
No, he's
Tough.
big. He's
It's
an
unusual.
ex-prop.
Yeah.
He's a big figure.
Yeah, but no. What Jason? I think he's not. He's not a fat lad.
Put it this way, he doesn't
No.
look. He doesn't have the same body shape as Cronin.
No,
No.
he doesn't. He doesn't have.
He's way bigger.
Cronin has that.
is quite.
tall.
Yeah,
Taller,
but
but I
Cronin has
wouldn't
more of a
say-
sense of power because Cronin's very broad-shouldered, narrow hips. He looks like a powerful guy. You know that inverted triangle thing.
Cronin, if you meet him in the flesh, is actually quite small.
No, I know. Yeah, he just looks big.
When he has he tugs out very big, is what they say.
Tugs out big. That's
He
it.
tugs out very big.
Jeez, that's something you don't hear outside of junior football all that often.
But he does. He looks. He stand beside him in a line, and he's not that big with his clothes on. But stick him on that pitch. I mean, with his street clothes, Dave.
How long
I
is he in
haven't
the
been
shower?
at swingers parties with them, despite those rumours.
Move to the next question. Quick.
Yeah. Why don't we just park that for a moment and we'll come back to. We'll have a look at some of the other fixtures.
The money was just resting in my account.
One that stands out for me is Connacht played Toulouse. They started
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
when we got them qualified in 2012. They actually played their first European Cup match against Toulouse, and I think they've played them 4 times, beat them
Yeah.
once over in Toulouse.
That's right. Yeah, that was a great result for them. That was the one of the real kind of.
It's kind of kick-started
That's a
Pat
bit of
Lam's
a
regime.
sit up and take notice result.
Yeah.
Again, I watched Toulouse this week against, was it Clermont?
Don't know, mate.
No, yeah, it was. No, who did they play? They weren't that impressive all the same.
I've seen one top 14 game this year, and
Yeah.
that was Montpellier.
I was watching the highlights today, and it's just completely.
Yeah.
They didn't strike me. I mean, Sense Johnson did a very good game, but apart from that, they weren't.
Yeah, they're not all that.
Toulouse are but a memory of the great Toulouse side that we used to watch.
It's sad, really, isn't it?
It is
See-
in a way, yeah.
Yeah. One team that seems to be slightly on the rise. I mean, their results don't. They've won 5 out of 8, but it's Bordeaux. But they kind of they got promoted. And
Madigan v Jackson.
Exactly, yeah. But they
It was
kind
Madigan, but it's more Boxy. It was Boxy's starting at the weekend. Maybe Madigan was rested.
Apparently, Madigan seems again, I haven't seen the games, but from what I'm hearing, Madigan seems
He's
to
starting
be the
the
man
home
that starts all the home games, yeah.
Maybe that's the way they're going. They're doing the usual home and away
Which-
kind of thing.
which is pretty much what the matches that they're winning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're,
I think they won at the weekend.
yeah, they've won 5 out of 8.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they've won all their home matches and one away
Yeah.
one.
Because I saw Boxy's kicking the ball over the bar, so I presume that was him. He
Yeah.
started.
He finishes off, I think, the games at home.
Yeah.
He comes on, Madigan doesn't play the 80.
He's been around how old is Boxy's at this stage? He's been around a long time.
173 or thereabouts.
One match that obviously is going to get an awful lot of press is Racing playing Munster. With the O'Gara thing, and of course,
Be hiding behind the sofa looking at that one, I think.
I think that the one thing to remember about Munster is, I said in the first part, kind of reiterated here just to kind of kickstart the discussions, whereas Munster might be good, Munster might be bad, but Munster are a proud side.
Give up.
They do not give up, and they will not take a backward step. Whether that's going to be enough against a genuinely turbocharged, in more ways than one perhaps, well funded, well trained, with that inside knowledge of the whole Munster ethos that they have, Racing team, I don't know. I think everyone's predicting that this could be an absolute massacre. I expect Racing to win. I expect them to win comfortably, but I don't think it'll be a massacre.
Especially with Raj over there, who knows exactly what
I don't think it'll be a
makes
massacre though.
Munster tick. Like, I mean, of all people you don't
Lack of
want
education.
in of all the people you don't want in the opposition coach's box, it's Roland O'Gara. Like, he basically is Munster for the first. Didn't he win the first 15 years of the Heineken Cup Best Player Award? He's died in the Wool Munster, and now he's poacher turned gamekeeper, and he's going to be trying to outwit them, which, given the team he has and the money he has behind him, shouldn't be that difficult, you would have thought.
But this,
So if Munster
this
can
is
keep
stupid.
them,
It's set up perfect. But look, should go
if
back.
Munster can keep them within a score for 60 minutes,
Go back,
I'll be
go back
impressed with
15
them.
years ago when Mogara was playing, and pretty much, they were fellas that all came up through AIL. There was very few superstars. I mean, John Langford played twice for Australia, and he was considered the superstar of the team.
That's right.
This game, and the way it's been written about, and particularly been beaten by Leinster at the weekend. It's set up for them.
Yeah.
It's set
Yeah.
up for them to cause an upset.
I would counter your argument with the first sentence you said in your paragraph was when O'Gara played for them. They've no O'Gara.
That's
There's no
very
O'Gara
true,
there
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And a guy like O'Gara was a genuine world class out half.
But he
I mean,
wasn't 15 years ago, Dave.
No, but he was on the path to it.
Yes.
And a guy
Niall
like
now
that,
might be on the path to it.
I don't think he is. A guy like that covers a multitude. So he does. It covers a multitude. I mean, 15 years ago was 2001. O'Gara was pretty much there or thereabouts. I mean, there was arguments about what happened in '99, if you recall.
And he
And the
played
first thing that happened
Heineken Cup
when
final in
O'Sullivan
2000.
came in was put him into the team. And if you like, that game against Scotland when O'Sullivan kind of brought in all those guys. That's, if you like, the birth of modern Irish rugby started that day. And O'Gara was, first out of the forceps, as it were. He was first man out, so he made a huge difference to that Munster team. Munster don't have a Ronan O'Gara now.
That's
They,
true.
they do have excellent
They
players.
have Conor Murray.
They've Conor
They have
Murray.
a
They've CJ
Stander.
Stander.
And
That's it.
they have a Simon Zebo.
Yeah.
He had a reasonable game last week.
But you look at Stade Francais. They do have a Ronan O'Gara. They do. They have Ronan O'Gara
Racing.
2.0 Racing.
Yeah.
In Dan Carter.
Yeah.
What would happen if you thought that Ronan O'Gara is good, but what if we made him better at everything?
What if we turbocharged him and put him on steroids? No.
No. But I mean, that's what Dan Carter is. He's a bit like, I always think of New Zealand when Inga the Winger went to rugby league, and New Zealand said, well, what if we got a guy that was like him but better in every single way? Jonah. And Dan Carter is, if you like, the out half version of that.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's another game actually that I'm looking forward to is Glasgow against Leicester. We've
That's
seen how good.
Munster's group as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But we've seen how
That
good.
really is the group of death.
But we've seen how good Glasgow have been. Indeed, like they beat us over there this season already, and they've been there and thereabouts. They've won the Pro 12. They've been there and thereabouts in the last few seasons, but they really have underperformed in Europe. And I was just looking. Would you believe of the 103 games that they've played in Europe, they've only won a third of them?
I would believe it.
I would.
In comparison, Leicester have played 150 odd games and they've won 65% of those games, roughly the same percentages as Leinster and Munster.
The big dogs.
The big dogs, but like you're talking about, 50% more games win loss ratio than Glasgow have. Like they really haven't. They haven't just. They've never. Like have they ever got out of their group? I don't think so.
Leicester didn't qualify out of their group.
No, Glasgow. I meant.
Oh, Glasgow haven't. No.
No,
Yeah.
Leicester actually have
don't think they've ever been in the
they've a couple
quarter
of good players there now. They're building a bit of a new team around with, and they're. But the thing about Glasgow is Glasgow
They didn't
lost
have
the
a
X
good
factor.
season either, though, were they? Leicester.
Both fourth in the league.
They're fourth.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, and they're scoring tries like. Glasgow lost their X factor. They lost Naira Voro, they lost Nakarwara, and the previous season they lost Matawalu.
I
Now,
thought Chase was going to tell us that.
Matawalu I think was as much a hindrance as he was a help, but you couldn't analyse him.
Yeah.
Nakawara gone. A lot of their play
That's-
revolved around.
he's the
a
biggest
bit,
one.
A bit like Munster. A lot of Munster's play revolved around Ali Muldowney, or not Munster. Sorry,
Connacht.
Connacht's play revolved around Ali Muldowney, who, by the way, is fulfilling a very similar role for Grenoble.
Grenoble, yeah.
A lot of Glasgow's play revolved around Nakawara, and now he's gone. So he's gone with that X factor. Naira Voro's gone. Now he didn't stay around very long, but he played a couple of European games where he was absolutely unplayable, if you recall.
Give me Tommy Seymour any day.
Yeah. But he was still pretty unplayable in a couple of those European games last season.
I'd love him in Leinster.
Yeah.
I really would. Like a 20-stone winger that can run like the wind. Yeah. He doesn't need a brain. Just get Ringrose to hand him the ball.
Well, that was good.
He really doesn't. The turning circle of the QE2 will be quite fine because he's got other people to cover for him there too. So I would love a guy like him in Leinster. I think
Big cold from.
It might be, yeah. Well, it's not as cold as Glasgow, but hey.
Do you remember Timothy Nagusa played for Ulster?
Oh yeah.
And he was really good for them. I mean, he scored an awful lot of tries for them.
Interesting you
But he
mentioned
was
him.
frozen
Yes.
solid all the time.
Yeah.
And he just said, I had to go. I was just so cold.
Yeah,
I think Ulster actually took pity on him because he was turning blue.
interesting you mentioned him because he hasn't played for Montpellier. He's been in Fiji on.
Gardening leave.
Thawing
Well,
out.
No, I think he's had kind of family issues, is what the way they've described it. So, and he's been saying he's coming back, but he's actually come back. He's actually here this week, and he could play against Northampton.
He's a very good player.
He is a great player. I'll probably tell you the story next week about meeting him at 4:00 in the morning after the last Leinster Montpellier game. I'll save that one for next week. But
You
he's
heard it here first, kids.
after the news we will be dealing with on prime time. He's a great player for them, but I'd love to see him, even though he's what age is he now? 30 something. I'd love to see him play for Leinster as well. He's just the kind of guy we need out there too, you know.
Are we Fiji? In,
Fast.
are we Fiji in
We used
disguise?
to sing that. That used to be a song that was sung on the terrace at one stage. I don't think we are. I think we've done quite well with our Fijian.
Yeah,
Well,
even though he's a Kiwi
Oh yeah.
who played for Fiji.
one other game that sort of springs out is Toulon against Saris. The winners from
Oh,
the last,
yeah.
the winners from the last 4 years. Neither the most likable of mobs, but
Darth Vader versus Darth Maul.
Toulon's star starting to fall a little bit, but
Yeah.
Saris still
They're
well up there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are they top of the Premier League?
Yeah, they
I'm just guessing here, but
Yeah,
they disposed of. I watched the game against Wasps live on at the weekend, and they disposed of them in a typically efficient Saracens manner. They just sucked it up, and then struck.
they're hard to live with.
Yeah.
I mean, when we played them in
They
2000,
can be hard to watch as well. Though.
Yeah, that's true. We played them in 2010 and we beat them, and we're Sexton scored all the 25 of the points. Actually, you were there, Jason.
yeah.
It was in Wembley, and we spent the last few minutes just tackling them between their 10-metre line and halfway. Like, they weren't the side they become. Like, that side were nowhere near what they've become in the time since, and they had to work hard to do it. Like,
Farrell was only 19. Now he's 25,
Well, there you go.
26.
They
Well,
were nearly.
The question is, would he even play? I mean, he's been out injured for a while, and
They
they
were-
haven't missed him.
They were nearly there for several years. They were getting the semi-finals, and they were almost, but they broke through. And last year there was no one living with them, and I think they're more of the same this year. So
And they've signed Elizabeth.
got to be. Yeah, I know her. Used to go out with her sister. Evan Etzebeth, or
Yeah.
That's the man.
You mean the guy who was always regarded as not quite as good as Quinn Rue?
that guy, yeah. Yeah, he was probably twice the height.
Yeah. Quinn Rue was. It's hard to believe Quinn Rue was a bit like Jeremy Staunton and Rog. Quinn Rue was the guy who was at age grade level, was the one that everyone thought was going to be the one who'd make it, and that's a
He
bit.
has made it. He's playing for Connacht.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. I played for Ireland against the Springboks, so I suppose
True
you can't
enough,
complain.
See, in the
But,
meantime, Etzebeth has been.
Won everything in the game.
Elizabeth has been using full barrels of oil as curling dumbbells.
Well,
So,
if he's gone to Saracens, he's probably getting paid in crude oil.
that's probably true. More power to him.
Okay, boys, we'll just turn on quickly back to the cast game. Prediction?
I was discussing this with a pal earlier today, and we were thinking. I say if we get 2 tries by half time, we'll get a bonus point win.
I think we're going to have one of those agonising games where we fall over the line and don't get the 4th try and try to do it for. I think we'll win by maybe 10 points and score somewhere in the 20s, but just short of that bonus point try.
35-11.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Well, just one other.
that's very specific, Dave.
I know.
Obviously,
It's like the note of 11, not 10, not 12, 11.
obviously, just one other
Trying 2
piece
penalties.
that I'd like to say, and just obviously pass on our condolences to
Oh, that's
Hayden Triggs'
so
family
Yeah.
sad.
and the loss of their little girl.
Immensely admire his courage for playing on Saturday night for the A team against the Ravens.
Maybe it's just something he had to do.
Yeah,
to
get out there. Yeah,
Yeah, get on, but like,
tremendously sad thing.
I just can't imagine. Like, I never, when it comes to something like that, I just can't put myself. I can't even let myself start to think about something like that happening. It's just so people that have to go through it. I feel deepest sympathy for.
Absolutely. Well, my boys, thanks very much, and thanks again for watching. Cheers.